Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome if it's your first time. Over on my corner of the internet, I wax poetic about all things stationery, everything from journals to planners, pens, inks, stickers, washi tape, and everything and absolutely everything in between. So in today's video, I have a special friend that I want to introduce you to. If you've been on my channel for a while, and even if you're relatively new in the past couple of months, you know I am no beginner to fountain pens, but I have a a pen that's widely famed to be a great beginner fountain pen with me today. It's my first time using one, it's my first time owning one, should I say, and I wanted one kind of deep into my fountain pen journey, not as a beginner. I didn't know about this pen as a beginner. Maybe I would have bought it if I did. Meet my very first Pilot Kakuno. Say hello. So, bit of a backstory to this. I am on the fountain pen subreddit, which I stalk pretty much every day when I get time. And someone posted about an event in Japan that they attended where they purchased 2 limited edition Pilot Kakunos. This was one of them. I was obsessed when I saw the color. Like I said, I always wanted a Kakuno, but I had a hard time deciding over the past year which color I loved the most. And none of them were like a must-have for me. They were cute, but they were so plain in a way. Like everybody knows these colors. I wanted something a little bit more in my color scheme. If you know my collection, you know I like a lot of pastels and quote-unquote pretty colors. I'm not a huge fan of transparent pens, although I have a few. But long story short, this was right up my alley in every single way. I have another pen that's called a milk tea color. It's my Ginger Lady too, and it's one of my absolute favorites in the world. I am never gonna get rid of that thing. This one stood out to me. Like I said, I went on Mercari, Japan. I need to be specific about that. It's Mercari, Japan, not the traditional Mercari website. And I looked for this pen. It's my first time opening it up, so we're both gonna see it together. Okay, so it's a fine nib and it includes a cartridge, as all Kakunos do. What would have been great is if it included a converter, but it would have more than likely cost more to purchase. It's adorable. It's as light as I remember the one that I tested from my friend being, and I love it. I love it. It's such a cute color. Now, the one feature of this pen is that the nib is not the traditional smiley face that we're used to. It has a bit of a, I don't know if this is a smirk or what, but the smile is a lot different from the traditional Kakunos. So here we are with the Pilot Kakuno transparent. I can't remember what this is called, but if you know, you know. And the rest is the milk tea color. It's a fine nib, like I said. I am a bit of a medium girly, but you can always do with a couple fine nib pens in your collection, simply because you never know when you're gonna need to write in small corners. But I will list it throughout the video, the name of the event that the pen is associated with, and there is a second one that is a feature of this event as well. It's a kind of reddish color. Am I puncturing this right? Oh my. I feel like I'm not. Oh, down below. I was doing it wrong. There we are. I was doing it. I thought it was here. I was doing it totally wrong. So we are inked up. Let me just make sure it's securely and snugly in, yes, because it won't even come out. And I'm gonna do a writing sample in my work planner, which I have with me. This is of course I can't read Japanese. I only know a teeny bit of Korean from my Korean classes. But this manual is in Japanese. I could always do the Google Translate images. I will do that a bit later. But we got the gist of the pen. So I will be writing sample. I'm gonna tilt my notebook sideways because I'm actually not straight on with the table at this time. So allow me to turn a smidge to write as clearly as possible. What I will say about the nib, because I don't have much experience with a fine nib, this feels a bit odd to me. Most of my medium and broad nibs just glide on the page. This has a teeny bit of scratchiness. Not 100% and it's not bothersome, but I think it feels different to me because I'm not used to fine nibs. It actually, to me, it writes more like an extra fine. So I'm wondering to myself, what is an extra fine Kakuno gonna write like? Because this looks extra fine in my opinion. If you're a Kakuno expert or advanced user, you could let me know if this is a fine nib. If this would be considered fine, it looks extra fine to me. So there we have my writing sample. Like I mentioned, it feels a bit like an extra fine to me. I mean, I have a fine nib platinum shooting star that writes a tad smoother than this, so that's why it feels a bit odd. And that one is a fine and it writes a lot smoother, wetter as well. But this one is a smidge thinner and a slight scratchiness to it that I'm not accustomed to. We're gonna try this on some Tomoe River paper as well and on some Midori MD paper. This is like what I would call regular quote-unquote paper. It's a Rifle Paper Co. set of notebooks that I got in TJ Maxx. It's nothing fancy, it's not any like specific quality of paper that's branded as fountain pen friendly, so let's give some other papers a try and see how they respond. So here we have my Tomoe River paper notebook. And oh, I got a bit of ink on my hands. Guys, I will admit I shook the pen a bit to get the ink flowing, so if you see ink on my hands, that's why. So let's test out the Tomoe River paper notebook. This used to be my road planner, but it's not anymore. I am so used to using thin paper as a journal, and writing in this for work was a bit strange to me and I didn't enjoy it at all. Let's test out the Pilot Kakuno milk tea in a fine nib on Tomoe River paper. I'm mostly testing it for smoothness because honestly, I'm a bit surprised at the level of smoothness. Okay, it's writing the way I'm used to now. Huge difference. A humongous difference in quality. I'm sorry if I wasn't in frame. This is what I'm used to this pen feeling like, the way I remember it feeling when I first tested one. It's way smoother on this paper than on the paper I just showed you. Yes. Yep. So it's the paper that makes the difference. Nothing is wrong with the pen. It is the and it actually looks like a fine hair, which I love and adore. The paper is what makes the difference. And let's give it a go on my Midori MD. Equally smooth. I can hear the pen I can hear the nib on the paper, but that's not a problem. In cursive, and it is not the most what you would consider aesthetic, but this is how I write. It's legible. I've been writing in cursive since I've been around 10 or 11 because we had to learn in school. Test out the drying time. So it dries between 5 to I would say 7 seconds. Friends, there we have my very first review of my Pilot Kakuno, very first one. I love the pen. I'm so happy that this pen came around. I wasn't waiting or hoping for a limited edition color. I just had a hard time deciding. And this happened, and it happened at the perfect time, and I said, you know what, this would be a really nice addition to my collection. As I mentioned, this pen writes best on Tomoe River Midori MD any notebook on the market that states it's fountain pen friendly, you will have a great time with it. Traditional or quote-unquote regular notebooks like these, this paper feels like printer paper to me, and it gave me a different writing experience here versus, see what I can do. It gave me a different writing experience. As you can probably see, here versus here, look at that difference. It is out of this world different, and you can tell that one side deposits more ink than the other. It's completely up to the paper that you use, not the pen. The pen is perfect. Love it on Tomoe River, not so much on like plain traditional copy paper, because I suspect this is copy paper or something like it. I could be wrong. I don't wanna insult any brand because I actually love these notebooks. But that aside, like I said, it also works well in my Midori. The Midori and the Tomoe River paper gave me a very similar type of finish. And you will not regret getting this pen if it is your first time using one, I promise you. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch this video. I would suggest hanging around because I am officially gonna round up my collection once and I think for all. I think. And I'd like to walk through it with you and let's have a chit chat about all my pens, my favorites, hits or misses, all of that. I do hope you consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this and pretty much all things stationery. And I thank you so much for being here. Bye. Oops.